Cool Ones Hang On series. I reckon we should have a look at this one. Okay, so here we have, this is the smaller version. This is the HFX 70. They do other ones in this range. Now, the reason I wanted to have a look at this one is because it does have a little skimmer on here, so I want to see how that works. This one comes with a 2-year warranty. Here's some details for you. Let's have a look. No details on the box. Well, that's not very good, is it? Oh, here. 70 litres, up to 70 litres, so I reckon a flex. This will do well on the flex anyway. Cold water, tropical and marine. Now, I'm not really keen on hang filters, but people ask me nearly every day about these. So, again, it's going to be a cartridge system. Not a fan, not a fan. You all know that. So, here's the main unit. Now, it's small enough, okay, and it's clear as well, that's good. So it's got a little adjuster here, which is good. And it's quite small, tiny little pump. Not any details on the pump. It says 5 watt. It says 5 watt on there. Ah. So it comes with some grease as well for the impeller and the seals. Maybe the seals. Let's have a look. Lots of bits. Look at this. Ah. Okay. So you can add that on there. I get it, I get it. So this is obviously going to go on the end of that. So I think we have lots of, oh, how strange. Let me have a look at the box a minute. Okay, okay. So obviously that's going to go on the end, isn't it? There. And that's going to go on the end there. I always like to see how you set these up, okay? Okay, so that's the extension. You don't need to have that bit if you've got a small tank. Okay. So is that going to travel up and down? It's not going to move. Oh yeah, there you go. There's the moving. That's all right then. But there's no O-ring. There should be an O-ring on there, surely. Let me have a look. There's one O-ring, so that's obviously going to go in there, isn't it? So I'm going to take this piece off for a minute. Now, where that sit? See, look, see the O-ring? See what it's done with the O-ring? Let me have a look at these, because that... How are you supposed to set this up if there's no instructions? Is there any in the book? No, there's nothing in there. Let's open these. Just using the human scissors. Wow. Okay, so you really want it that way round. Now, let me leave that out for a minute. You don't need that in there for a minute, and that's obviously going to... See, there's a lot of wasted space, and the water's going to be sucked up, go down here, then rise up over itself. I'm going to see how that works anyway. You've got to be very careful with these things, because even though that doesn't sit, there you go. Got to make sure that sits perfectly in there. I'm assuming on here it tells you that's a high, so high is that way. It says, I mean, it's quality plastic, I'll give them that. And don't forget, this is extremely cheap. So that you don't need. That obviously is going to go into there. Very simple design. Look, you just move it around. That's cool. It says here for the impeller grease. Okay, so that means that we should be able to get this out. Some of them just turn. There you go. Okay. And there we have it. Let's have a look a little bit further into this. Bear with me. Okay, so as you can see on there, this grease is for the shaft, so just taking that out. Spoon's a good way of getting them out. Right. But how do you get to the shaft? So you can't really get to the shaft, so that's kind of pointless then. All right, let's open it. We follow the instructions completely because I want to put this on the O-rings as well. I'm just going to squeeze a tiny little piece. Actually, we're going to have to put it on this piece, aren't we? This is awkward. Look at that, look, you can't. Okay, it's silicone grease, so it's not going to hurt your fish. And you want every bit of seal to have a little bit of that on. There you go. There you go. That's how it sits. Okay, so we need a bit more on this piece as well. But keep this grease because it's good for everything. It really is. You don't want too much of this. And that is going to go into there like this. See how much easier that slides in there? And then we're going to block that off. Which doesn't block off. Of course it doesn't block off because that goes on there. And then that goes on there. Okay, that's quite a cheap thing this is. Let's take that out, put a little bit around here. I know there's no seal, but it will facilitate getting it on. Or getting it in, I should say. There you go. Okay. There we have it. That is now set to where it is, so I think it's time. That's just an extension. And if you don't want to use the surface skimmer, that goes in the end there. Like this. So let me show you quickly. Oh, I won't take it off, but there. So if you want to take that off and then put that on. So keep that in the box. There you go. Alright, let's get it wet. Okay, so there it is. And without further ado, let's turn it on. Oh, just while I'm here, I've taken off the surface skimmer just so I get a good idea of how it works. And I've pre-filled this chamber. Okay, so 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Not bad. Not perfectly silent, but these do get more quiet the longer you use them because they get gunked up and all that. So that's not too bad. Let's check that flow out a bit closer. Okay, that's doing a really good job of moving water around. I'll put some details to this. Let's turn this down. Okay. Didn't really make a lot of difference, to be honest. Okay, let's have a look what it looks like in a tank, and then we do the pros and cons. Okay, there it is. Working nicely. No noise, by the way. Any noise you can hear is from an air pump. What do you think of that? That is fantastic. Really quiet. I'm going to try the surface skimmer on there in a minute. It's not too bad. You put that at the back of the tank, you're not even going to notice that. It's got a little bit of air going on there, but that's not a bad thing. The adjustment here is a little bit weird because I like to have mine a bit more forward. But that's a good little unit. Let's put the surface skimmer on there. Okay, so the skimmer does work, however, as you can see, the flow here, so that bit there, is pushing the water away from this, so you'd have to get some kind of circle, but it does work. It's working quite well. You can see with the bubbles, it's sucking the bubbles in. So again, I think this a fantastic bit of kit, and well done to the company. Okay, so 280 litres an hour this thing does. And we're just going to generally talk about it. So first of all, the quality build is very good. This worked quite well, making sure it's stable. Okay, this pre-filter, I think every filter should have a pre-filter, to be honest. Every filter should have that. Saves a lot of basic maintenance, and it takes 2 seconds to take this off. Literally, look. I wasn't actually too happy, so I done a test, which I'll show you the video footage now. Okay, simulating a power cut. Off. 3, 2, 1. Levels drain down. And 3, 2, 1, on again. Okay, success. So as you can see, it passed that test quite well. Okay, so pre-filter we like, this we like, quality plastic. I like the see-through idea, and I like the colour, so you can actually keep an eye on what's going on. Seal was really nice touch in the bottom there. There was no leakage there that I could see. I was very worried because this is outside the tank, you know, if you're going to put that in there, so try not to touch that unless you really have to. Okay, I did have a little bit of seepage from that when I first done it until I put the grease on it, so quids in with that. I'm not a fan of these. However, this does have a normal one which can be taken out, which is quite good. You could probably put a thicker pad in there, and the same with this side. So, but this is a polishing pad, so it would keep the water nice and clean. There is a lot of wasted area in here, as you can see down the back. So the water comes up, spills into this piece, so it comes up, over, and then goes out through here. So there's a lot of wasted. I would probably try and get something in here, or maybe if this was thicker. I don't understand why they do it this way, but there you go. For the price, this is fantastic. It really works well. A little bit noisy, but as I say, over time these do get quieter. Which is obviously fantastic as well. Adjustment didn't seem to do a lot until it was right the way down. Okay, so I'll give you some footage of it in a tank. I'll put it on the side so you can actually see how it looks. All in all, quite pleased. So I will give it a thumbs up because of the price. The price is very cheap. This I was a bit disappointed with, because if I had that at the level to stop that making so much noise, this was out. It was up here somewhere. As you can see, the level there. Which was a bit disappointing, but it works still. It sucked in a lot of crap off the thing, so we're going to leave this running on the flex and see how we get on. Okay, I'll show you what it looks like in the tank. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.